Upper ear cartilage, pros and cons, advantages, disadvantages, 5 of each coming up right now. Pros and cons, buy a piercer, upper ear cartilage, episode number 7. For those who don't know me or new to the channel, my name is DaVo. I'm a professional piercer. Have been since 1994. I'm the owner and operator of the Axiom Body Piercing Studio here in Des Moines, Iowa. We share space with Skin Kitchen Tattoo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some of the advantages and disadvantages of getting an upper ear cartilage piercing done. Now, when I go through this, I'm going through this as an expert, as somebody that has done a lot of these piercings over the years and helped people heal them, and also somebody who actually wears a few of those. So, we're going to go through 5 advantages, 5 disadvantages, and here's number 1. It is a widely socially accepted piercing. It's one of those piercings that a lot of people out there have, a lot of people are used to seeing. It's not something that's going to freak out people or affect possibly jobs. That said, if you are involved in any type of competitive activities, that may be affected. You may have to remove the jewelry, so always take that into consideration. This piercing looks great with a large variety of different types of jewelry and jewelry options that are available, from rings to Lobe studs to stud-style jewelry to more complicated pieces of jewelry to combine multiple ones. This is something that you can find everything from threaded jewelry to threadless jewelry, all the way back to even those plain old-fashioned posts you can buy at the mall. I don't advise wearing them. Number 3. That's what this is. 3. Right now, there's a lot of different placement options as far as where it's positioned on the ear that you have to choose from. You can do everything from the edge or rim of the ear, where it wraps around the helix, to more inside to where they call things constellation piercings, I think is the latest term a lot of people use for it. Basically, anywhere on that flat area of the ear between the 2 helix. Helixes. Is it helix or helixes? I guess it'd be helix. Anywhere in that area that's flat at the top, you can place the piercing. It will dictate the type of jewelry that you can wear in the piercing, and that is something you should discuss with your piercer. Number 5, the last one, last advantage, last pro. It has a long history of healing with some problems, but we'll get into those later. This is not a piercing that's experimental or new to the industry. It is something people have been doing for a very, very long time with fairly good results. So it's not like you're getting something experimental that you have to worry about rejecting or having strange or unusual problems. Also, there's not a lot of risks attributed to this piercing as far as doing damage to the area or other parts of your anatomy if it's done correctly. Now let's get into the cons, the disadvantages, the things that aren't so great. The area comes in contact with a lot of different things. Because of its position, it comes in contact with phones, bedding, headphones, earmuffs, helmets, anything you put over your head will come in contact with this piercing. That's one of the reasons why it can be a little bit difficult to heal. So if you're one of those people that does a lot of sports and you're wearing headgear and everything else, it may not be the best choice for you. If you're prone to sleep on that side, you may want to do the other side. So, and all of these things can lead to a couple of different things: prolonged healing or difficult healing, and also infections or other problems because of that constant contact. Number 2, the piercing can be difficult to heal. Like I mentioned earlier, because it comes in contact with so much stuff, and it's kind of in that area of the body that gets a lot of traffic, they can be fairly difficult to heal. Sometimes they have problems. It is one of those piercings that's a little bit more, takes a little bit longer sometimes, and is grumpier longer than other piercings. And that brings us to number 3. This piercing has a long history of being grumpy, even after the piercing is healed. There are nights, I've had mine for well over 24 years, and there are nights when I wake up, if I've slept on it wrong or had a rough night, where they are sore and tender for a couple days afterwards. It's just because where that piercing is located at and the amount of damage you can get. There's not a lot of blood flow to the area. Sometimes they can be a little bit more traumatic as far as bumps and etc. So you should consider that risk going in. Cannot sleep on the piercing. I kind of pounding this one into your, kind of pounding, not pounding, pounding. Kind of number 4. Can't sleep on the piercing. If you are one of those people that sleeps on every other side, moves around a lot in your sleep, it may not be the best option for you because you cannot sleep on this piercing while it's healing. And even after it heals, there might be years before you feel comfortable doing it or have problems or not encounter problems after sleeping on it. Number 5, this is the part where I go through what it's going to take to heal it. What are the hassles involved? You're looking at an average healing time anywhere from 2 to anywhere up to 4 to 6 months. It varies from person to person. During which you're going to be cleaning. I generally suggest cleaning with an antimicrobial or germicidal soap such as satin or Proven twice daily, at least once daily. Also doing hot soaks, preferably, or compresses of warm water and sea salt twice daily. Cross-contamination prevention. Most of this is common sense stuff. Wash your hands when you handle it. Handle it by the ends whenever possible. The only time you have any contact with the piercing is when you're cleaning it. Keeping your environment clean. Clothing, bedding, towels, headphones, earmuffs, anything that's going to come in contact with it, you do want to make sure it's cleaned on a regular basis. Keep pets away from it. Don't let them sleep in the bed with you. Especially cats. They tend to be kind of attracted to anything shiny on your face. They can do a lot of damage to a healing piercing or cause an infection. Do not submerge the piercing in bodies of water you can't control the quality of, which is pretty much everything but your own clean bathtub. Avoid clothing or equipment that is constrictive during the healing process. This can be everything from over-the-ear headphones to earbuds to helmets or any type of protective gear that you may need to wear if you're involved in any sporting activities. That constant rubbing and agitating can cause issues, and also how clean that is kind of questionable. So keep that in mind. Also, if you use anything that comes out of a spray can or squirt bottle in your hair, you want to shield it with folded up paper towel. Do not sleep on the piercing. I already mentioned this before, but I don't know how to emphasize do not sleep on the piercing. The number one cause of problems that I normally see are from people going, oh yeah, it feels fine, I can lay on it. No. You don't realize how much you move around your sleep, and you don't realize how much damage you're doing to the piercing during that period of time. Also, avoid contact with unclean objects. The number one culprit of that would be telephones. Even though you may be the only person who ever touches your cell phone and the only person who ever uses it, think about where you used it, when you washed your hands last, and whether or not you've handed it off to people to look at the local bar or restaurant or wherever, and start to think about how much contamination is probably on the glass, and then think about putting that against an open wound. Not a good idea. As I mentioned before, this piercing does take a lot of babying. You really have to kind of isolate it, put it in that friend zone, so to speak, avoid contact, don't handle the jewelry, and just give it time. Jewelry types, each one has kind of its advantages or disadvantages. The straight studs are a little bit easier to clean, but you really have to make sure that that post is not moving back and forth. With the rings, it can be it depends on your anatomy largely. So it's one of those things I generally suggest if you're going in to get the piercing, talk to your piercer about what they advise as far as jewelry and placement. So that covers 5 pros and 5 cons of getting an ear piercing done. Upper ear cartilage, right up here. Some people call them conches, some or outer conch, or constellation. Is that the other one? Or anti-forward helix or side helix. Upper ear cartilage. Real simple, that's what it is. If you go into a piercing studio and you ask for that particular piercing and then point to exactly where you want to position on your ear, they should know what you're talking about. So, now you have some knowledge. Now you feel a little bit more educated, I hope. If I've touched on something but you're a little unsure about it or have a question that you would like me to go a little bit more in depth, please leave a comment. I do answer them when I can. Also, if you like the video, please like it because that makes us feel good because we know you're enjoying it. And subscribe if you are looking to get piercings done. If you'd like to be more educated on body piercing and tattoos, I do suggest subscribing. We post these roughly about 3 to 4 videos a week at the rate we're going right now, including our weekly updates with the fun tattoos from the guys from the Skin Kitchen. And every other week our Q&A. Until next time, if you're in the Des Moines area, I hope to see you for your piercing needs in the future.